Okay, here is an overview of how to do order of operations in math when you're given an expression or an equation. When you're doing order of operations, oftentimes you will see the acronym PEMDAS, and it stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, as you can see right here. Okay, so we're going to refer back to this because this acronym will help you remember the order by which you need to operate in math. Now, there are a couple of things to look at, as you can see on the right here that I put a square around. Okay, so when you get to the multiply and divide step, you're going to, you don't always multiply before division. Okay, and same with addition and subtraction. You don't always add before you subtract. Those are both pairs, both sets there are basically the same step, but you got to address them from left to right. And I will make sense of that in just a minute. Okay, so if that doesn't make sense, don't worry about it too much. But these are the steps you want to follow. So let's look at the first example. So number 1 here in the top left. So number 1, we've got 5, and we have a fraction symbol, so that means division. So 5 divided by, and then in the denominator, in the bottom of the fraction, we have 1 plus 2 to the second power. Okay. All right, so let's first go back to our acronym to help us work through this and simplify this expression that, for example, number 1. So for the first step, we want to look at, are there any parentheses? And if we go back, no parentheses. Cool. So what we can do is skip right down and go next to exponents. Okay, so if we go back to our expression, oh, yep, there is an exponent. Okay, and it's that power of 2 to the second power. Okay, so what we're going to do is rewrite. It's always good to rewrite each step you do. And we still have in the top, in the numerator, we still have 5. We haven't messed with that, but in the denominator down below, we still have 1, but now instead of plus 2 squared, it's what 2 squared is, which is 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, so we addressed that exponent, okay? So now our next step is to multiply if there is multiplication. So we go back and we look at, okay, is there any multiplication going on here in the step that we're at now? And nope, there's a fraction symbol, which means division, and there's an addition symbol, but no multiplication. So I go back and say, okay, we don't have to multiply. What about division, though? Okay, so there was a division operation, and this fraction symbol, okay, that fraction symbol means division, okay? But here's a couple of exceptions you've got to be careful of, and this is one of them, okay? When you have a big fraction like this, right, where there is an operation going on in the bottom or the top, in the denominator or the numerator, and in this case, there is an operation going on, and that's addition that's going on in the denominator at the bottom, okay? If there is any operation in the numerator or denominator, you have to address that first before dividing, okay? And some may argue you don't have to do that, but it's going to make your life easier. So always just address what's in the denominator or numerator first and simplify those before you divide, all right? So let's look at the operation that's going on in the denominator is addition. Let's do that before we divide in this case. So 1 plus 4 is 5. So we know, okay, this comes out to, in the numerator we have 5, and in the denominator we have 5. Because we figured out, 1 plus 4 is 5 in the denominator. Okay, so now let's refer back to our steps. We actually did addition this time before division, and again, the reason is because you want to do any operations in the denominator or numerator of a fraction before you do division. So that was an exception. Okay, so now we're down to, we've did the addition, now we're left with division. Okay, so if we go back, we can look at, yep, the only thing left is 5 divided by 5. which turns into 1. Okay, so our final answer there would be 1. Okay. All right, so let's look at example number 2. Example number 2 in the top right corner, we've got 4 squared minus, in parentheses, 4 minus 2. Okay, so let's refer to our PEMDAS acronym. Parentheses should always come first. So let's see if we can do that. In number 2, there is a set of parentheses, okay, and that's 4 minus 2. And we know 4 minus 2 is 2. So we're going to rewrite what we have. 4 squared still, minus, but instead of 4 minus 2, it's now just 2. Okay, so all we did so far was address what's in the parentheses, because that's what PEMDAS tells us to address first. So now I'm going to go back to see what my next step should be. Okay, we did parentheses, now exponents. Okay. Yes, there is an exponent for this 4 squared, right? Well, 4 to the second power is 4. Really, it's really 4 times 4, which we know is 16. So now I've got 16 minus 2. Okay, so that's after we've addressed the exponent. So we keep referring back to, even though it might be tedious, you keep referring back to PEMDAS. We've done parentheses. We've done exponents. Now, is there any multiplication? If we go back, there's no multiplication. It's just 16 minus 2. Is there any division in 16 minus 2? Nope. Okay, so there's no division. So multiplication's out, division out. We skip those. Is there any addition in 16 minus 2? No. But the last step is subtraction. And yes, that will work for us. 16 minus 2 is subtraction. So that's definitely what we're going to do next. So 16 minus 2, and that's going to come out to 14. Okay, so there's example number 2. Okay, now let's look at example number 3 at the bottom left. Example number 3, we have in parentheses 1 plus 6 plus 4, and then in another set of parentheses 6 minus 2. Okay, all right, so if we go to our PEMDAS steps, okay, let me erase hold on. Let's see. Okay, so oops, that was 14. So number 3, if we go look at our PEMDAS steps, okay, we have parentheses first. So if we look at parentheses, oh yeah, we have 2 sets of parentheses in number 3. So we got to address both of those. And it's always a good habit to address mathematical expressions or equations from left to right, just like you're reading a book, okay? So if that's the case, let's address 1 plus 6 plus 4 first, okay? Well, 1 plus 6 is 7, and 7 plus 4 is 11. So we know, okay, that set of parentheses comes out to 11, okay? Now, the next set of parentheses, 6 minus 2, well, we know that's 4. Okay, here's the tricky part about this one, okay? What do we do with 11 and 4 now? We don't see any operation symbol right here in between them, okay? If you look back at the original problem, where the in between the parentheses, there's no symbol either, no operation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, okay? So this is something really important for moving forward in math. If you have 2 sets of parentheses like that, and there's no operational symbol in between the parentheses, then automatically think multiplication, because that's what it's telling you to do. So really, this is 11 times 4. Okay, so if there's no symbol in between the parentheses, just do multiplication. 11 times 4 is 44. So we're done with that one. Cool. Okay. All right, last one, number 4. Okay, number 4, we've got 8 plus 3 minus 5 plus 6. So that's just in the numerator. Okay, that's just up top. And then we have it all divided by 4. Okay, so we've got a lot of stuff going on here. Now, remember what I said earlier. We have a big fraction like this. This is a big fraction. Always solve and simplify the numerator, so what's up top, and the denominator, or what's up in the bottom, before you do any division. Okay, so even if we go back to our steps, even though we see, okay, divide comes before add and subtract, well, in the case where you have a big fraction like we have in number 4, this time we're actually going to have to do the addition and the subtraction before the division, okay, because you want to simplify what's in the numerator or denominator before you divide. Okay, so let's go through our order here. So we've got parentheses. Are there any parentheses? No. Okay, if we go back to our steps, exponents, there are no exponents. Multiplication, if we look back, there's no signs for multiplying here. Okay, division, okay, we talked just about that, right? Now it does have the fraction symbol, so we are dividing, but we have to wait until we simplify the numerator before we divide in this case. So this is an exception to the order. Okay, so we're going to wait on division, and we're going to go ahead and do subtraction and addition before we divide in this case. So if we're now when you have this big, we have 2 addition symbols and we have a subtraction symbol up top. Okay, and so it's like, okay, well, which one do we do first? Always move left to right. Always address things left to right. So start from the left and to the right. So the first thing we're going to do here is the 8 plus 3. That's the first operation on the left. We're going to start there. So 8 plus 3 is 11. Okay, so we have 11. And now we have minus 5 plus 6 is still up there. Let me write this smaller, actually. Yeah. So if we rewrote this right now, we have now 11 minus 5 plus 6 over the 4. So I just rewrote what I have from my, I just rewrote everything after I did 8 plus 3. So the only thing that changed is I don't have 8 plus 3, now I just have an 11 there in that spot, and I still have minus 5 plus 6 all over 4 because I haven't touched any of those. Okay, all right, so now we're going to address 11 minus 5 because that's, again, we're still moving left to right up there. Okay, so if I have 11 minus 5, and I'm going to rewrite what I have. 11 minus 5 is 6. So I've got 6 now plus 6 all over 4. Okay, so all I did on this new step is I rewrote, I put 6 in for 11 minus 5 because 11 minus 5 is 6. So I've got now 6 plus 6 over 4. Okay, so again, I'm just rewriting every new step with the one change that I made. Okay, so we can see and visualize the changes we're making one at a time. Okay, so then my last thing for the numerator to simplify is 6 plus 6, which we see is 12. So now I've got 12 over 4 as a fraction. Well, that's really 12 divided by 4, right? A fraction tells you to divide. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. Okay, so those are 4 different examples of how to use the order of operations and how to use this acronym, PEMDAS, to help you remember the order of operations in math.